The spoon froze halfway to his lips the moment the old woman leaned closer and whispered, "Please, pretend you are my daughter's fiancé in that quiet tea shop, with steam rising from chipped porcelain cups." Daniel Carter, a tired single dad who had spoken more than 3 sentences to another adult all day, felt his heart skip. This was supposed to be his one peaceful moment. 15 minutes between his warehouse shift and picking up his 6-year-old son from daycare. A moment where no one needed anything from him. And yet, here was a stranger asking for something absurd and heavy all at once. When he looked into her eyes, he didn't see mischief. He saw fear, the kind that comes from loving someone more than yourself. Before he could even ask why, a group of well-dressed people entered, laughing too loudly. The old woman's hand trembled as she gripped his sleeve. "They think she is alone. Please." Daniel thought about his late wife, about how people judged what they didn't understand. Without fully knowing why, he nodded. He stood up, slipped an arm gently around the old woman's shoulders, and introduced himself calmly as the fiancé. The room shifted. Attitudes softened, questions stopped, and respect appeared where suspicion had lived moments before. When Tay left, the old woman explained that her daughter, Emma, was a successful executive who'd chosen her career over marriage. Some people believed a woman alone must be broken, must be corrected. As Daniel listened, he thought about how often he'd been judged to, a single father pushing a stroller, whispered about, underestimated. When he finally stood to leave, the old woman smiled sadly. "You should meet her. Just owns." A week later, he was standing awkwardly in a modern apartment, meeting a woman who was warm, exhausted, and quietly lonely. What began as an awkward explanation turned into hours of honest conversation about grief, pressure, and the strange masks people force us to wear. Over time, the pretending faded. Daniel wasn't pretending when he showed up for Emma's mother's appointments, and Emma wasn't pretending when she helped his son with homework, but pretending, even when it begins kindly, eventually asks for truth. Emma felt it first at work, the sideways glances, the questions about her personal stability. Daniel felt it in the way other parents at daycare treated him. The weight grew heavier when Emma was offered a promotion across the country, one that came with an unspoken condition to keep her image clean and uncomplicated. She went to her office, prepared to walk away from him, only to find her position frozen, rumors spreading that her judgment had been questioned. That evening, she showed up at Daniel's door, exhausted by pretending strength. He didn't offer answers. He offered tea. In that shared honesty, something shifted. Pretending had brought them together, but truth was what was going to decide if they stayed. The next morning, Emma's mother told Daniel the truth. The whisper in the tea shop wasn't just to protect her daughter. It was to protect herself from regret. Years ago, she had pushed Emma to choose reputation over risk. Now, she was watching history repeat itself. The pressure mounted. When Emma was finally given a choice, step back from the relationship or step away from the company, she walked out clear. She stood in front of Daniel and told him what she'd decided. He didn't celebrate. He just asked if she was choosing this freely. When she said yes, her voice trembling, he understood that love doesn't rescue people from consequences. It stands with them inside those consequences. The truth arrived quietly. When Emma officially resigned, the world didn't collapse. In the movement, she discovered something she'd never felt before. Relief. The noise faded, replaced by smaller moments that mattered more. Emma helping with school projects, Daniel teaching her how to fix things, her mother visiting with just gratitude. One evening, back at the same tea shop, Emma reached for his hand. She'd spent her life proving she was enough to people who never planned to be satisfied. Daniel replied that he'd spent his life believing survival was the same as living. They both understood then that the whisper had never been about a fake feeling. It had been about two people learning to step out of roles they never chose. When his son asked if this was their place, Emma smiled and said yes. As rain tapped the window, just like it had that first day, Daniel realized the most powerful turning points slip into your life disguised as interruptions, as moments you almost say no to, and he was grateful he hadn't. Because sometimes, the bravest thing a person can do is agree to sit down, share a cup of tea, and stop pretending they're fine being alone. Thanks for watching.